Now at 6, it's Inauguration Day in Missouri. We're going to hear from the new governor. Plus, the Kansas Department of Health and Environment heads to the city of Galena to investigate the source of an unknown odor. And bird watchers take flight to Cassville to check out the bald eagles.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Missouri welcomes its 58th governor today. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. Governor-elect Mike Kehoe was sworn in on the steps of the state capitol in Jefferson City. Kehoe will replace outgoing Governor Mike Parson, who served as Missouri governor from 2018 to 2025. During his campaign, Kehoe promised a tough-on-crime approach and tax cuts. In his speech today, he touched on those issues as well as strengthening education in the Show Me State.
Securing Missouri's future means strengthening public education and expanding school choice so that every single student has the opportunity to get a world-class education. Whether it's a four-year college or a career and technical education, schools that teach kids how to think, not what to think, are the key to long-term self-reliance.
Governor Kehoe wasted no time following the ceremony, signing 6 executive orders aimed at crime and immigration. To see the entire inauguration ceremony, just head over to KOAMnewsnow.com or use the KOAM Plus streaming app. Let's check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney now for a first look at the weather.
Well, temperatures are pretty cold today. It's going to be our coldest day on the forecast, currently dropping down into the 20s already, though we don't have a bad wind chill value because winds are pretty calm. Now, they're going to shift out of the south tonight, so we have a warm up in the forecast through tomorrow. Overnight lows getting down to the mid-20s, which is about 10 degrees warmer than it was this morning, but still going to be pretty cold. Now, we don't have much going on this week other than a pretty nice warm up as we head through the rest of the week. So yesterday we were in the mid 40s. We had a cold front come through that dropped our temperatures to the low 30s and then low 40s on Tuesday with mid 40s on Wednesday and even reaching 50s by Thursday and Friday. Though we do have another cold front coming in later on this weekend. I'll have a full forecast coming up.
See you soon. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment is working with the city of Galena to figure out what's that smell. According to the mayor, officials are meeting with KDHE on Friday. They're not sure yet what the investigation is going to look like, but this all comes after numerous resident complaints about a sulfur smell, particularly in the area north of 4th Street. The mayor told KOAM's Melissa Alexis this afternoon the smell could potentially be related to the landfill, although no one is certain yet. Previously, KDHE said the smell wasn't likely coming from the landfill.
I don't know if it's a lack of adequate cover, which again they're doing, there's no violation there, so everything is being done right, but if there's still some stench that could come up from there.
A couple of weeks ago, KDHE came to Galena and conducted a study which confirmed there are no violations relating to the landfill. Some drivers in Joplin are going to need to take a detour in the coming days. Starting tomorrow, St. Louis Avenue will be closed from 8th Street to Campbell Parkway. This will be a full closure at the railroad crossing to replace the box culvert and stormwater infrastructure. People living in that area will still have access to their homes, but through traffic will need to follow the detour route. Bald eagles are making their way to Missouri, according to the Department of Conservation. The Show Me State has become one of their favorite places to nest. KOAM's Lonnie Walton talks to a local naturalist about the birds.
First of all, I just really like birds, so I've always been a birder since I was in high school.
Zaleski is a naturalist at Roaring River State Park in Cassville. She says birds are everything to her.
I met some people who were super into birds and bird watching, and they got me really excited about it.
And they're in love with Missouri also.
We see several thousand bald eagles that are reported in the state every year.
And if you're wondering why they came here, you guessed it. Food.
There's also in the winter some bald eagles that come from northern Missouri or even further north because our waterways, most of them stay open year round, so it provides a constant source of food for them.
And how do we take care of them? According to Zaleski, We just leave them alone.
People are coming into contact with nests more often. So it is actually, nests are federally protected. So it is against the law to disturb a bald eagle nest. Also keep your distance.
And we had to ask the other residents how they like the bald eagle in their hometown.
Interesting because when I was a kid, it was very rare that I'd see one.
And for Celesky, like I said earlier, she just can't get enough.
I've been here at Roaring River just watching these bald eagles. Every year I learn something new.
Reporting in Cassville, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Anyone convicted of killing a bald eagle is subject to a $5,000 fine or possibly imprisonment. That's according to the Missouri Department of Conservation. Winter just got a little bit warmer for some area kids. Today, Children's Haven of Southwest Missouri presented 120 brand new coats to children in need. The event was made possible due to a partnership with Frank Fletcher Subaru of Joplin and Operation Warmth.
It's amazing that we can all get together and kind of form this relationship where we're able to help out, especially with children. You know, they're not able to help ourselves like adults are.
Children's Haven has served families in Southwest Missouri since 2003, providing more than 50,000 nights of safe, nurturing care to more than 8,000 children. The Gorillas announced their 2025 football schedule today. John Dales has more on who Pitt State will face and when. That's coming up later in sports. But up first, many people will use the break in winter weather to take their cars in for services and repairs. We're going to explain some of the common concerns.
Something fun today.
A lot of people are taking advantage of the dry time to care for and check on their vehicles after our ice and snow last week. Nick Kelly reports it's also a busy time for repair shops.
While some in the Ozarks waited for road conditions to improve after wintry weather this month, others had to venture out on the roads. Unfortunately, some who got out during the dicey road conditions ended up with damage to their vehicle. That's keeping body shops busy.
We were actually getting tow-ins that same day, the first day of the storm, and then ever since then, a lot of the tow lots try to get to those cars as quickly as they can. And
cars, SUVs, four-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive vehicles were no match for the icy roads that left behind damage to wheels, suspension components, and other body parts. Parts were initially hard to get in for repairs due to road conditions outside of the state, but they're now arriving in large quantities. That means if you sustain damage and need repairs, even if shops are busy, don't wait.
Give the body shop a little grace while we dig through this, but the faster you can get us called and get on the schedule, the faster the process begins.
If you stayed off the road and are now finding your vehicle is hard to start, it's likely a dead or drained battery.
It's the clock, the radio stations, the GPS tracking that may be there. So there's things that will draw electricity off of the vehicle even after it's sitting for even a short amount of time.
You can put in a new battery or have your car safely jump-started and taken to a shop. In the future, starting it every few days and letting it run for a brief time will help keep things in working order. Even with some roads still wet, it is a good time to clean your car so snow won't stay on any components under the car. Plus, it's good for getting rid of salt and other road treatments.
It really accelerates the corrosion factor on the undercarriage of the vehicle, and suspension components, exhaust components, exposed metal components under the vehicle will rust literally in a matter of hours.
Now, while it might take a few tries to wash that snow and treatment away, you can do it yourself at any self-serve car wash or any car wash site that offers a good undercarriage spray. A little bit later, local users weigh in on the looming potential ban of TikTok.
And coming up after the break, we're going to talk all about our warm-up that we're seeing this week. Well, we've had a lot of back and forth in the weather this week, a lot of snow, a lot of colder days, but we're in store for a warm-up later on this week. We can go ahead and take a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. We have mostly clear skies tonight. Temperatures are going to drop down into the mid-20s, but as you can see, our low from this morning in the teens, we're still a lot warmer than we were this morning. We're closer to average as we head into Tuesday, with the highs even reaching low 40s as well. So taking a look at our temperature trend for the rest of the evening, planning out, we're dropping down quickly into the 20s, then getting down to about 27 by midnight with the overnight low about 25 degrees. Now, outside of that, not much else going on this week other than the warm up, which is pretty significant for this time of year. We're seeing temperatures reaching mid to upper 50s and even 60 degrees in some areas. And that's because we have our low pressure system that's been off to the east now and a cutoff low that's holding out in the west. So in between these two lows, we're going to see a ridge building, which we'll look at here in a moment. But that's what's driving our temperatures up for the week. So taking a look, temperatures Tuesday and Wednesday into the 40s, but by Thursday, we're already reaching 50 degrees, so about 54 in Joplin, 52 in Pittsburgh, 48 in Iola, so still pretty cool up there. But our warmer temperatures are going to be out in Oklahoma for the next week. 56 in Welsh, 57 in Veneta, 60 in Nowata, and we have southerly winds. Those continue all the way through Friday as well. Overnight lows dropping down only into the low 40s, upper 30s for our low Friday morning. And then our highs, again, reaching the 50s and even 60 out in Oklahoma as well. 60 in Veneta, 59 in Grove, 58 in Nowata. Now, are the rest of us in the mid to upper 50s, and then those northern counties low 50s. So we definitely see a significant warm up later this week, and that's, like I said, due to this cutoff low that's out in the west, and then we're pinched in between a secondary low that's off to the east that brought us our snow a couple of days ago. That's shifted off to the east. We have this little ridge that's pinched in between these two low pressure systems, and that's building our warm temperatures for the next couple of days. You can see Thursday morning, that's where we're really starting to see that really big jump for those temperatures. And then by Friday morning, we're still in the ridge. We do have clouds moving in, and then that cutoff low rejoins with the upper level flow, and then we'll continue to propagate eastward. Now, with this system, there's a lot of uncertainties. We definitely are going to see a massive drop in temperatures following this weekend system, but depending on when that low rejoins with the upper level flow and how far south it pulls it, that will depend on where this cold front actually develops. As of right now, it's developing past us, so out to the east. We still may see a few showers Saturday and into Saturday evening, a few snow flurries push in behind that low pressure system, and that's going to make its way into our area Saturday evening and into Sunday morning. Not dropping a lot of snow, only about an inch as a maximum right now, but we definitely are going to see a huge drop in temperatures from 57 on Friday to 21 on Monday, with overnight lows dropping down into the single digits again. It doesn't last long, but that will be a very cold couple of days.
In the meantime, a chance to thaw and get rid of the snow that's still on the ground.
Exactly.
Thanks, Lindsay. Still ahead, the wild card round of the NFL playoffs wraps up tonight, and Pitt State Gorillas repeat, one of them does, as MIAA Player of the Week. John Dales has those stories and more up next in sports.
We have just one college football game left for the next 8 months. That's the FBS National Championship next Monday night. But Pitt State has some news for the 2025 season. Pittsburgh State Athletics officially announces its 2025 football schedule today. At the end of last week, we found out the opponents for each week, but now we've got dates and times to go with that. Of note, the first game of the season will be played on a Thursday night. That's the Gorillas' road game against the defending national champion Ferris State on August 28th. And it's the fourth time in the last 5 years that PSU opens the season on a Thursday. 9 days later, PSU faces Central Oklahoma for a night game on the road. Then Pitt State's first 2 home games both kick off at 4 p.m. That's also new, against Grand Valley State and Fort Hays State. Gorillas will host rival Missouri Southern in the Miners Bowl on November 1st. That's the first time since 2022 that game will be played at Carney Smith Stadium. Well, tonight marks the start of another busy week for high school basketball in the 4 states, and we start in southeast Kansas, where Chanute heads on the road to face Pittsburgh tonight. This was originally scheduled to be played on Friday, but because of the winter weather, it gets pushed to today. Girls game is just getting started as we come on the air. The boys are scheduled to tip off later tonight around 7:30. In Missouri, we've got a non-conference battle tonight at Neosho High School. The Wildcats boys team plays host to McDonald County. Each of these groups had games postponed last week due to weather. Tip-off tonight is scheduled for 7:15. Switching gears to college basketball, Pittsburgh State senior forward Corinna Gerber is named MIAA Women's Basketball Player of the Week for the second week in a row. She helped lead the Gorillas to a pair of conference victories over Missouri Southern at home, then Newman on the road. Gerber scored 22 points to go with 11 rebounds against the Lions, then had 12 points and 10 rebounds in the win over Newman. She now has 8 double-doubles on the season, and she leads the conference in free throw percentage. Over to the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys announced this afternoon they've mutually agreed to part ways with head coach Mike McCarthy, and this comes after the two sides couldn't come to terms with a new deal after McCarthy's contract expires at the end of the season. He's likely to be a favorite to fill one of the several head coaching vacancies all the way across the league. With McCarthy as head coach, the Cowboys accumulated a record of 49-35, and they won the NFC East 3 times. Well, the majority of the NFL is already looking ahead to next season. Of course, though, there are still several teams still alive in the playoffs, and the final game of the wild card round takes place tonight between the Los Angeles Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, because of the wildfires in Southern California, this game gets moved from LA and will take place at the home stadium of the Cardinals in Glendale, Arizona. Kickoff is at the top of the hour. Most of the wild card games so far this weekend, not the best games. We did get a good one last night, came down to the final play between Washington and Tampa Bay.
Yes, and in the AFC, at least every one of the home teams, that is the higher seeds, won those games.
Yeah, shock so far.
Yes, we'll be right back. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 tonight. We're going to tell you about tonight's Council in the Park, hosted by the Joplin City Government. Plus, new bird flu concerns rise after 2 pets die from drinking infected milk. And we have a sneak preview of a new hit shows returning to Fox. Those stories and a lot more coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. It might be time's about up for a favorite video platform here in the U.S. The future of TikTok might be less than a week away. It could come to an end in the U.S., but some experts here in the 4 states have expressed their feelings when it comes to potentially giving up the social media app. One Pittsburgh user says the potential ban would not only hurt her social connections, but her business as well.
I just moved back from Costa Rica, and so it was a really great way for me to actually see what was going on here while I was abroad. So that was really nice to feel like I was connected to everyone in the States while not being in the States. So I use it a lot. I promote my business on there. I connect with other business owners. It's great, and it's part of my marketing strategy.
Many TikTok users have begun the migration to another Chinese-owned platform, Red Note, which has become the most downloaded free app in the Apple App Store as of today. We'll be following this, of course, in the days ahead. We'll see what happens to TikTok, if anything. The weather, we have some changes coming up.
We do. We've got a nice warm up midweek this week. Temperatures rising through the 40s and into the 50s before another possible snowstorm, but definitely cold front moves through, dropping temperatures yet again to start next week.
Final sports note.
College basketball at the Division I level. Arkansas goes on the road tonight. The Arkansas men at LSU. It's been a little bit of a bumpy ride thus far in their first year under John Calipari. They're looking for their first SEC win.
Let's see if the Hogs can do it. Thanks for joining us. We're going to see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.